I really hope that this thing never happens again in Warframe, because this is probably the most expensive weapon to build and rank up. I mean, 5 formas? Should have called this the Paraforma, you know? Like the word para in Paralympics. It's as if this weapon is disabled without forma. Okay, a stupid analogy, but what else do you expect from a trash channel? They say you gotta be different, you know, to play with the big boys on YouTube. But anyway, welcome back to the channel, guys. Hope y'all grinding well in Warframe. Oh yeah. I apologize for the delay in between videos recently. Stuff came up and I'm kinda working on the Instagram page, which you should check out. Link down in the description. Also, there might not be any more Warframe vids till Fortuna hits, because that way I can bring you guys fresh new content, and there's not long to go until then. But all that aside, today we're gonna be taking a look at the Paracesis. Don't worry about spoilers, I think. Okay, maybe there'll be a cutscene or two. Honestly, I bet you guys have seen this thing enough times by now. But I'ma make today's review a little different by highlighting a couple of issues or big gripes I have with this thing. Let's just jump right in, guys, and start with the fact that the Paracesis is the first ever weapon to require 1,000 Orokin ducats for building. 1,000 Orokin ducats. Like what? Ducats are actually gold coins by definition, if you didn't know. So, you're telling me that this sword is literally made of Orokin gold? That might sound cool, but it seems like something a dumb rich person would do. And that is not the case with most Warframe players. Or so I think. I mean, a couple hundred would have been fine. That's like a few Fisher runs, so okay. But 1,000 is a lot. I'd be more chill about this whole idea if Orokin ducats were items or resources exclusive for building gear. But it's not like that. They are used for trading with Barrow. They are primarily used for trading with Barrow. And in this perspective, it's not so much about grinding for those ducats that is bad. It's just that 1,000 ducats is a lot. It's probably worth 2 or 3 really good stuff during those Barrow trader weekends. I can see that the devs are experimenting with the addition of unique items for crafting, like with the Phantasma, which requires 10 sentient cores. I mean, it's not something new. Yeah, I understand that certain gear or even Warframes do require some special items or resources like Gara or Chroma, you know? I'm just not okay with 1,000 Orokin ducats. 5 Eidolon shards? Yeah, okay, not too big of a deal. A single Tridolon hunt will get you more than that. However, 1,000 ducats? That's just way too much grind for a weapon, man. Also, you'll need to sacrifice a vanilla Galatine for building the Paracesis. Thank God they didn't make it the primed version. And now that I've actually said it, they're probably going to be doing that next, aren't they? Primed parts as crafting materials. Oh well, no matter. That probably won't happen because trash channel, remember? Who even watches this? Seriously though, you who's watching this, you the real MVP. So okay, that's one side of things that I'm not okay with. Now we get into the stuff that really grinds my gears. Or should I say, grinds my forma. Because I really feel like I've ground all my forma up to dust in leveling this weapon. Apparently the Paracesis also happens to be the first ever weapon that you could get to rank 40. But there's a catch, and I hate this catch. Because once you hit rank 30, you'll need to forma this thing in order to level it up further. Basically, it works like this. Build the Paracesis, hit Hydron, hit rank 30, shove a forma in there, hit Hydron again, and then hit rank 32. Because, oh no, you don't get to 40 straight, because the max rank of the Paracesis will only increase by 2 for each forma. That means you'll need 5. Yes, 5 freaking formas. Whoever came up with that idea, I don't know. Come on. It used to be that you could actually double forma this thing too, like at any rank past 30 you could actually polarize it without having to hit the max rank. For example, my Paracesis is at rank 33, but I haven't hit the cap of 36, meaning I've already put in 3 formas. I can actually polarize the Paracesis before I hit rank 36, which is good. You save a bit of time but the devs patched that shit. So it's a whole lot of grind no matter how you look at it. Also, you can see here I don't even have a catalyst installed. Now this is not a build I would recommend, more on the mods section later. This is just to show how overkill it would be to potato the Paracesis. Potato the Paracesis. I just get images in my head of holding a tiny version of this blade and smothering it in mashed potatoes and gravy. I do not know why. I'm sorry. So yeah, rant mostly finished. Let's move on to the aesthetics. The Paracesis looks bland. I'm sorry. Sentient Slayer? The Galatine I sacrificed for this looks way better. It just looks like a huge generic machete with a disproportionate grip. It's like 40% of the weapon, almost as large as the blade, so that's kinda weird looking. You can make it pop a little with color customization though, turn it from a heavy blade made of gold to a plastic toy if you'd like. But I really like how a good part of the sword's edge glows when channeling. So overall a 7/10 for me, but only because of that channeling glow. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of the Paracesis' looks. Whoa, that was kind of difficult to say. RIP YouTube captions. Moving on to stats, you know what this thing is about. Crits. Just look at that crit chance. That coupled with a crit multiplier of 2.6x is just awesome. Also, really high slash damage. I mean, like the total damage of this thing is just behind the Galatine Prime and Grand Primes. One of the highest I've ever seen. The attack speed is okay too. This is a heavy blade, mind you. And although not shown here, it should be mentioned that the Paracesis will do increased damage to sentient enemies once you start polarizing it past rank 30. That extra amount of damage increases for each forma you put in, and after 5 polarizations, or once you hit rank 40, the Paracesis will do 60% more damage to sentient enemies, and also have the ability to reset any resistances on those bloody Oculus, Battalists, and others in the sentient family. But that special trait is meaningless most of the time, because most of the time we are not fighting sentience. Arguably we don't fight a Nox all the time either, but you get the friggin' point. Now in the power test, the Sentient Slayer manages to destroy the level 30 Nox in 15.07 seconds, and this is with no mods. I repeat, no mods, unmodded Paracesis, stripped, naked, whatever. This is for the sake of making a fair comparison. Of course, it may not be realistic because nobody's going to be using unmodded weapons, but we need a leveled baseline. That's how comparisons work, so please, bear with me. Anyway, the Paracesis hits hard. Even though the Nox is pretty resistant to slash damage, it is also pretty consistent, where only 1 out of 6 runs took about 23 seconds, which is kind of an outlier, so I discarded, nobody does these videos, only me. I discarded that outlier result. Now let's go to the speed test against a squad of 4 level 50 elite lancers. The Paracesis just decimates. Again, no mods here, 0 mods. Still, 10.37 seconds. This is primarily a slash weapon, so it only makes sense that it performs exceptionally in this test. Only losing out to the Dragon Arcana because of that thing's sheer speed. The Paracesis may hit hard, but the slow swings, aka heavy blade characteristic, meant it lost out to that ninja sword by roughly half a second. The Dragon Arcana gets to keep its top spot. So let's get into the mods finally. Personally, I think any of the bread and butter builds for your Grand Primes and Galatine Primes will work just fine with the Paracesis. But guys, the whole deal with this thing is sentient slaying. There is a good chance that we'll be forced to use the Paracesis in a future quest or questline update. I say forced because honestly you can finish most of the game or the core part of Warframe with mediocre weapons. No real need for flashy quote-unquote sentient killing toys. But if we are going to use this against sentients or even Mama Lotus, because who knows what crazy shit's gonna go down in the future, then why the heck not go full out and mod the Paracesis like this. Now most people call this a sacrificial build, but I call this build the Sentient Slayer. Nobody could have ever guessed that. Alright, let's be honest over here. This is pretty much your standard sacrificial build. You are going to need an Orkin Catalyst for this, definitely. So keep that in mind. Also, apparently the Paracesis hasn't been added to the Warframe Builder database yet. So this is just a custom blank melee weapon framework. I put in all the base stats manually. So if you notice something really wrong, don't hesitate to let me know down in the comments. I don't mind that at all, I'll correct myself. But I double checked anyway, so all should be good. The setup here will help you to deal 66% more damage to sentience, and all the numbers you see here, goodness me, I'm not even gonna say them out loud. You can see them for yourself. Anyway, all these numbers are not taking into account the innate 60% extra damage that a maxed out Paracesis will do to sentient bastards. Now I might be wrong with my maths over here, but usually mods use the base stats of a weapon to apply their respective calculations. So if I'm right, 66% more on top of the 60% extra damage that the Paracesis will already do to sentience means that this setup will help you to deal a total of 99.6% more damage to sentient enemies, which means the number you see over here should actually be over 57k damage. That's one hit, 57,000. I mean, like, yeah, there's a combo counter of 2.5x. I mean, that's just that's very realistic. It's really easy to hit, but 57k, guys, that's a lot. But that shouldn't be too surprising, I guess, because we are dealing with god tier weapons over here. And while this may not be the absolute best overall weapon, for sentient killing, I think this is pretty much the number one. As for the other mods, I just prefer body count. You can use Gladiator Rush, but I like the extra 6 seconds you get with this. Also, if you run a Naramon with the Power Spike passive and feel that you can cope with the combo counter, then feel free to replace this with a strong elemental, like Primed Fever Strike perhaps. You can also replace Buzzkill and maybe run a dual stat setup. Personally, I like a lot of attack speed and I'm pretty used to slide attacks as well, so Maiming Strike I find really amazing, especially with that unreal crit chance. But as always, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments. In conclusion, it's pretty neat that we got this thing for free. The blueprint, I mean. Building it and ranking it up was just a painful experience. So do I recommend building it then? No. If you have a good enough melee that meets your needs right now, then roll with it. Save this thing for when we'll kinda actually need it in some future story mission. So then, do I recommend selling it? Hell no, why would you do that? Then, do I at least recommend investing in a Riven? Honestly, this thing is OP enough in its current state and Rivens for it are probably ridiculously overpriced. Don't get scammed, my dudes. Keep that plat for skins, especially some of the Day of the Dead skins that look really nice. They're available right now, but they're gonna be gone. They're pretty sick. I think you should get them instead of investing in a Riven for this. That's all for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, found it helpful, or even cool, then hit like and get subbed, baby. Be sure to tap that bell icon too, because that's how YouTube works these days. Tons of super awesome content over on the Instagram page. Links down in the description. See ya, guys, in the next video.